computer.
Mhm.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ohio Small Business Spotlight, where every single week we do our very best to lift up one of our community members who's also an entrepreneur who leans in and makes the community better. Greg Fay, why don't you tell everybody who we've got on the podcast this week?
Everybody knows Holly. I don't need an introduction there, but we want to welcome Holly, and she's the owner of Skeleton Sports, and we're honored to have you on this September 11th edition, 24 years since the event that changed the trajectory of our country. I know that everybody has paid attention to that today and just remember what an event that was. Holly, we are so happy to have you here on on Ohio Business Spotlight. So happy to hear the story of Skeleton Sports. Tony, take it away.
Holly, I'd love for you to take us back to 2019. You and the Millers decide to lean in and uh, start an awards and apparel company, rather take over. Tell us the story. How does it work? How'd you know that it was the right time to make a new move?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. So, I by trade at the time as well for about 20 years was an occupational therapy assistant. So I worked in home health and I don't know, I had always gotten into kind of designing shirts, doing that kind of thing with Janelle, who was the previous owner of Skelton and Apley, along with Don Skelton. So I had always come up here, done things with them, and she had told me that Dawn was going to be retiring and she wasn't sure what was going to happen and everything. And I just went home and told my husband, I think I think I've done home health and healthcare long enough. I think I want to change up things. So he agreed to let me take the plunge. And we had talked I grew up with Christy Miller, her husband, Chris Miller. They are owners as well, co-owners of Health Foods Unlimited. So everybody knows that place. So they were very familiar with family-owned businesses and how that goes. And they were interested in partnering with us. And that kind of has been, I juggled the healthcare field for a few years with this. And then COVID hit, and it was a little scary at that time because it was like, how is a screen printing awards, business going to sustain? We did though. We luckily we have a great customer base. They kept things going too for us. So once we kind of got over the hump of the COVID scare and everything, I decided to leave healthcare and be here full time. And that's kind of where that's been. So yeah, yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Well,
It's way different than healthcare, but
we've heard that story so many times where someone is involved in a career for a long period of time and an opportunity comes up and it's scary. The one
yeah,
thing that you had in the previous career that you had was you knew it, there was stability, but yet you were willing to entertain this right here and initially took it on as a side hustle. What were some of the things, and you brought up COVID, and I know it's easy to pick on COVID, but we always try to uncover the one or two things that was hiding in the bushes on local business owners that jumped out. You couldn't believe it jumped out and bam, hit you right in the face, and you had to navigate it. Can you think of an event or two that jumped out and just scared the heck out of you, and you had to navigate it, and now here you are stronger than what you were before?
well, you mean like what going through the COVID situation or what with the small
Yeah,
business?
you could use the COVID.
Yeah,
The COVID certainly
yeah.
was something hiding in the bushes, but really anything business related. That boy, when you decided I'm going to become a business owner, that thing jumped out, and you were like, I did not know that was coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say, like, not ever owning a business, like doing, I mean, all of it was from scratch, accounts payables, accounts receivables, doing payroll, like all the tax things, like it, all of that, all of it was very scary. I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this. So it was a lot of learning that I had to do. My husband has been really good at that. He's very good at the business side, so he definitely navigated me through that. Um, my more positive, like what I is I was used to dealing with people. So I had that part of it down pat. You know, I can deal with people. I can be be that person, you know, whatever they need, you know. So that part was easy. It was the business side of it that was hard. And then like the potential loss of business that occurred during that time was the scary part about continuing to take that plunge. You know, we do a lot of awards. We do a lot of schools awards. So obviously sports, got, either eliminated for a time. So that was a scary time. Like, are we going to be able to continue to do this, you know? Um, but but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we were closed one day over a year and a half, like one day that we were closed. But otherwise, I mean, we just plunged right along. And actually, I mean, it was a horrible time, but it gave me a little bit of a slow time to
Hmm.
kind of navigate the waters of owning a small business. So for that, I was grateful. But when we really started to take off again, I was more grateful.
One of the
Yeah.
things that I always love to ask people who are in family-owned businesses is about the idea of partnerships. So
Yeah.
obviously you and your husband are partners in the business, and then you have this
Mhm.
other family that's also partners in the business. If you
Yeah.
were sitting across a young entrepreneur who's thinking about taking on some partners, what would be some of sage advice that you would give them about what to do early on in their relationships to make sure? Because from all accounts, you and your husband are still very close, and
Yeah.
and you haven't
I
killed
hope
each other
so.
yet, right? So
Yeah.
how do good partnerships work well in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think you have to establish um who's the strong, like everyone's strong suit in the business, you know, whereas my husband, his strong suit is like understanding the tax parts and um the yearly things that need to be looked at, and we have doing the inventory and all of that kind of stuff. Like that's his strong suit. Christy's strong suit is merchandising and how to set things up and make things look good. Chris's strong suit. He takes care of everything in the building, and anything that needs fixed or something come up with, developed, that's him. And then I do all of the personal communication. Like I'm the one that handles every email that comes in and out, that kind of thing. So I think it's just establishing your roles and what your strengths are.
Mm.
Um, and they give me a lot of like leadway to make the decisions. If I say that's a bad idea, they do not argue, like which they could. It's not like they wouldn't argue with me, but they recognize that I'm kind of the one that's here all the time, and I may know like what direction we should go with certain things. So yeah,
So Skeleton Sports was an established business that
it
you guys
was.
ended up taking over.
Right.
That's a complicated thing because it had such a favorable name in the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
And what were some of the keys, twofold, what were some of the keys to really communicate to everybody that, hey, we're the same, but we're different. We've got different ownership. We're the
Right.
same. That's number one. And what were some things, some opportunities that you saw using maybe some of the talents and skills on your team? What were some things that you saw that you were like, oh boy, there is a huge opportunity to add this, do this differently? What were some of
Yeah.
those?
Well, so Don Skelton, he was the one that owned this prior, and he has a big name he was a soccer coach for years. I mean, he even has a street sign up at Legacy Field, with his name part of it, So he was definitely established, and I mean, he'd been in West Carrollton up the road here. So that was hard, getting people to trust me because obviously I'm a bit younger, than Don is. And they had been dealing with him, and it was like, well, Don knew what I want. What are you gonna do? Like, do you know what I want? So yeah, I think it took a long time to get a lot of our longtime customers to trust me. We still had Janelle Apley. She was in business with him too, and I still have her here. She is the creative force, along with another graphic artist I have, Laura. So having Janelle still here definitely helped because she was the other friendly, trusted face that everyone knew. And she absolutely pushed people to, trust Holly, like this is going to go well. So they were all on paper. So that was a little hard, all orders, and lots of files upon files
Wow.
that I just pretty much threw the towel in on. I'm like, I am not going through all these files. We're just going to establish a QuickBooks, where, start building everything on the computer and go from there. So it was a lot of learning curve there of, learning everybody's orders because we have a lot of repeat every year awards, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it did take a little bit of time to get people to trust me and I just, every email that I would send, I would sign my name, to everybody that came in. If they asked for Janelle, I would introduce myself. And, now, I mean, it's kind of gotten to the point where everybody addresses me in the emails, but I tried to tell Janelle and Laura, you sign your name. You created this design or you did this, take ownership of it. So yeah, but it took a while. And I mean, I hope that Donna appreciated. I know for a while, I think he was a little salty with me. Not gonna lie, I don't think he liked the skeleton sports at first. But, I explained to him, I said, growing up, I played softball for KABC, and you always sponsored us, skeleton sport or skeleton and athlete. I, as a young child, thought it was skeleton. So naturally, when we bought it, I thought, well, that seems to me like a great transition, not totally freaking people out. It still sounds similar. But yeah, so I think he's been in several times now since took ownership, and I think I grew on him.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I know about you, Holly, and your partners is that um, you're fervent in the way that you support local communities, from the schools to local sports. I would
Mhm.
imagine in your line of work, people are continually asking for donations, right?
Mhm.
And one donation here, one donation there. And so, one of
Yeah.
the questions that I wanted to ask you is, how do you live in the tension of, I really want to help the community and I also need to make a profit? Because every business owner wrestles with
Yeah.
what does generosity look like? And I imagine in your line of work, it's even greater.
Right. Right. Yeah, we do get a lot. And I mean, it is big that we have to establish a budget, because that first few years, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. And then like the numbers hit at the end, yeah, we maybe can't be saying yes to everyone. This is not going to work so well to sustain our business. So we definitely established a budget on that, and we try to, for lack of a better word, spread the wealth among all the organizations and not just Centerville, but the other schools in the area and other organizations in the area. Um, so we had to do that. Our big thing is if we are going to donate, I mean, we do monetary amounts when needed and things like that, but we like to showcase what we do,
Mhm.
so whether we are putting our name on the shirt and, or we are engraving cups and, we do a lot of baskets. We donate a lot of baskets for, auctions and, things that are going on in the area. So that showcases what we can do all the, because we embroider, we engrave, we screen print, we can do just about anything. I think of one of the only things we don't do is like the flags that you see flying, the around, we don't do those. So, but yeah, we can do just about anything. So that's what we try to do is just showcase what we can do while we support the community. And again, we just have to establish a line, draw a line. So
Well, that was a great explanation of that as business owners. All three of us see that. So I want to
yeah.
ask so much about business ownership is effective communication.
Hmm.
And what I'm hearing from you a lot, and you haven't really talked not much about your team, your employees, but I know effective communication has to go to the folks on your team, and it
Yeah.
has to go to vendors that you deal with, and then it has to go with relationships in the community. You want to keep all those plates spinning,
Right.
because at any one given time, if communication is received wrong or if it's misunderstood, is there someone on your team that manages that? Is there a point person as far as dealing with each one of those right there? I just know how
Um,
important communication is at every level.
Yeah, no, you're so right, Greg. That's been a huge hammering thing over the past few months with my staff, and I think they all kind of get every time I say if something did not flow right, I say what was lacking, what was the breakdown there, what happened, and they were like the communication. I'm like exactly, like anytime like something is not communicated, it that is where the breakdown happens. So my big thing is, as much as I love all my friends and everybody that has my cell, when they message me, I always say, please, if you have anything with an order, please just email us. I need to have that flow. I need to have that workflow going and have it in writing. And I think that is huge. Like people, I love to accept phone calls and talk to people about stuff, but I'm like, I want it in writing, so that we are all on the same page, So, so that's where I'm huge about the email thing. I'm not trying to cut people off on the phone or the text messages or can you just do this one thing for me, But if I don't have it, like it just crumbles, I miss details, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but that's everyone's human, So
Details are important for sure.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the idea that you said about systems and making sure that things move smoothly. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would be the system that you wish you could have started sooner?
Hmm. Gosh. Um,
We only ask tough questions around
I
here.
know, I know. Honestly, I think it's more for me like coaching myself. Like
Sure.
don't sweat the small stuff. Um, you know, it's, you're a printing and award business. You're not like, saving lives here. Like so something goes wrong, Holly, it's not the end of the world, kind of thing. There are bigger things, to life than any of us. So, so that's really is more been like me trying to self-coach myself and my staff sometimes tries to coach me too to calm down. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
That's perfect.
I think, yeah, going back, just tell me to keep calm and relax, Ollie. It'll all get done. So
Well, I've got a question for you. I think you've done an incredible job of explaining to us what you do as far as your service and your products. Were all of those, a lot of times entrepreneurs or people that are trying to figure out if they want to develop a side hustle into a regular business, they're like,
Mhm.
all right, what services do I want to provide? What products do I want to sell? And then those grandiose ideas come up, that, oh, we're going to do this. This is going to be so big, and it flops.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, with having an established brand that was so well with such an incredible reputation, you guys have done an incredible job of keeping it. Did you keep the same product line and services? Did you add any? And if you can spill the beans on any secrets that are coming down the line, are there some new products and services that you're considering?
Um, so it was more so that we upgraded on the systems that we had. But just by we did like a few years ago bought a new laser and a laser that, has a rotary tool on it so that you can move things around a much larger scale so you can put large items in there and do engraving. So it was more about building on what we had or just upgrading the systems that we have. We pretty much have learned like every project that somebody brings us, there is more than one way to do it. So we are just each time trying to, establish what is the best quality way to do this. So and then looking ahead, yeah, there's some printing machines that we might like to look at getting, just to stay up with the times on that. Better ways of printing. Um, yeah, so looking ahead, yeah. We like
So
to go to
good.
the trade shows. Those are enjoyable to go to the trade shows and see the new things that are out. And start our wish list, you
I
know.
never realized how difficult embroidering was.
Um,
I had looked at a competitor and to have something embroidered,
yeah,
and I never realized that there's a wrong way to embroider so that whatever you embroider doesn't just pucker up as soon
yeah,
as it's washed.
right.
So there has to be tricks of the trade that you either knew ahead of time or bump your head a couple times and figure it out.
Absolutely.
You said there were so many processes. There's always 100 ways to skin a cat. You know,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, sometimes us business owners take the wrong ones the first 4 or 5 or 50 times to figure out
Oh
the
yeah.
right process. But
Oh yeah. 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 We've
Greg, your
definitely
first mistake was going to a competitor. What are you doing?
I didn't know Holly back then. I'm not
Mhm.
going to make that mistake again. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you take an iron to that. It does. I mean, embroidery, you've got cotton in those threads, so it will they shrink that first time
Yeah.
you wash it. But
Mhm.
but there's ways around that. So
So
yeah,
good. So good. Holly,
absolutely.
thank you for being so generous with your time today.
Oh
Thank you
yeah.
for all
Thank
that you
you
do
guys.
for our community. The last question that we love to ask people, it's probably the hardest question we're going to ask you all day. What are
Okay.
three local businesses that we should bring onto the podcast that you love, that you're a huge fan of?
Three local businesses. Well, you mentioned the one, well, yeah, she's already been on, right? Christy Ramel, wasn't she on last
Mhm.
month with
Yeah.
Seasoned with Love?
Season. Yeah, she was. She
Yeah.
was one of our first. She has one of our most viewed
Yeah.
podcasts, as a matter of fact.
Well, yeah, and I'm a customer of hers. I love her. So, but when you mentioned, changing directions, she's definitely one that changed directions and went
She
over
did.
here to, um, so, oh gosh, why didn't you guys ask me this one ahead of time?
So we'd like to get that pure
Oh,
reaction. Now, I happen to know that you're really good friends with Bill Brink.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we got to get Bill on this
So Carol works
Oh, we
tire.
do. We do.
Works.
Carol
I
works tire.
Bill has
Yeah.
Yep,
done my
absolutely.
fleet of cars for probably the past 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I would have had my whole customer base. I mean, you
I'll
had
tell you
James
what, you think
Caesar,
about
right?
it and shoot us an email and we'll get
Yeah.
make an introduction. We'd love to happen. We always are so thankful for referrals. At the end of the day, we know just like you do that as the small business goes, so goes the community. So
Yeah.
thank you for being a light in our community and for what you do to
Thank
help
you.
so many. And thank you for being a guest on the Ohio Small Business Spotlight.
Thanks, guys.